Hello there, welcome to Jujube DIY. I'm Sarah. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today I am showing you how I made 5 brand new Easter DIYs, so I hope you'll stick around to see what I created. For this first DIY, we're going to use some of these craft foam eggs from the Dollar Tree and then a couple of different styles of fabric. I don't really suggest these narrow pieces of fabric from the Dollar Tree just because they didn't cover well enough for these larger eggs, but they would probably work well on the smaller eggs. Now, we're going to create a template, and this was kind of hard to explain, but you just kind of put the paper down and make a kind of template on your paper with a Sharpie. I'm going to link the original video that I found on Pinterest that shows that part of the process a little bit better, in my opinion. So feel free to go check that out. But I made the template for the top part of the egg and the bottom part of the egg, and then I'm going to transfer them onto the fabric that I want to use. And I'm going to cut both of them out at the same time just to save time. Now I'm going to use my box cutter, and I am going to slice a fairly deep slice around the egg. Of course, you don't want to slice your egg in half, but you want to have a nice deep cut here, and you're going to go around the very middle of the egg on both axes. I guess that's what it would be called. So you want to go around the middle the short way and around the middle the long way. And again, I'm just using my box knife to cut that through. Once you have your egg cut all the way around, then you're going to add your fabric. So I'm going to start off with the top part on one side, and I'm just going to place my fabric down just past that middle point. And then using my scissors, I'm going to start tucking that fabric into those cut marks. And I'm going to start kind of in the middle at the bottom and then go up to the top and do the middle, and then just kind of keep pulling and pushing that fabric in. Now, it took me a couple of tries to get this technique down pretty well, but it really wasn't hard, and the eggs are fairly forgiving, so you can kind of pull that fabric out and try again. But once you kind of get the hang of it, it's super easy, and these turn out just adorable. So I've got the fabric that I'm going to use here, and then I'm going to turn the egg over, and I'm going to place that exact same fabric on the bottom part on the other side. So when we're done, we're going to have one side that'll have 2 different fabrics on each side of the egg, if that makes sense. And you'll see what I'm talking about here once I show you how it is finished with the fabric put on. And this is what it looked like after I got the fabric on both sides of the egg. Isn't that so cute so far? I know they do the same technique making ornaments. You know, there's a lot of people that make these beautiful ornaments. They're so intricate with like fabrics. You know, Christmas time. But I saw somebody do this kind of technique with eggs and knew I had to try it and share it with you guys. So again, I'll leave that link that I found on Pinterest down below so you can go check it out and give that creator some love on Pinterest. So now I'm going to use some of this crocheted ribbon or lace ribbon that you find at the Dollar Tree, and I am going to just cover up those seams just to kind of hide them. You can use any lace or ribbon that you want here. I just kind of thought that this lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree accented the fabrics that I chose pretty well. So as you can see, it turns out so cute. And these are perfect for a tier tray or just some decoration for anywhere in your home. And as you can see, I did a couple of different styles of fabric, and it all coordinates so cute. So we're going to do another egg craft, and this one is using these kind of plastic dyable eggs from Walmart. I am going to give each of the eggs 2 coats of the Waverly Chalk paint in ink, and I'll let each of those coats dry very, very well and naturally. And then I'm going to add a layer, a nice thick layer of Crackle Medium from Folk Art on top. Again, you'll want this to dry by itself. Don't try and use a heat gun to speed up the process because it will not turn out for you if you do. Now I'm going to add a layer of the Folk Art multi-surface paint. I find this paint crackles the best, but you can use any acrylic paint you have on hand, including chalk paint, and it'll crackle nicely as well. And this is how the crackle turns out. Immediately as it dries, it crackles even more, and I just love this effect. So I got onto Creative Fabrica and I found some cute little bunnies and Easter trucks that I wanted to put on my eggs. So I printed it out on regular paper and then cut down some tissue paper and just taped it on with washi tape. And then I put that through my printer just so that I could print that on to the tissue paper, sorry, so I could print it on that tissue paper. And now I'm just going to take a water pen. This just is a paint pen that has water in it. And I'm going to go around the images just so I can kind of tear these out in a natural way. And you can use regular water and a paintbrush for this and get the same effect. So now I'm going to add some Mod Podge to the front of one of my eggs, and I'm just going to apply a light layer here, and then I'm going to gently press that tissue paper onto the egg. I want to be careful that I don't smear the ink because it is just, you know, jet ink printer. It's not lasered or anything, so that ink will smudge a little bit if it gets too wet. So I am just going to add that image on gently. And then I'm also going to add another layer of Mod Podge to protect it. And I'm just going to start kind of from the middle out so that I get those edges especially. And then once I get that image, I'm just going to go over the image just super lightly once. And it is protected very well. And you can go over the whole egg if you want, or you don't have to. And look how adorable this turns out. And here is a look at all of these eggs in a little basket. I think that these are just gorgeous. For this DIY, we're going to start off with one of these mini crates from the Dollar Tree. And then I had this scrap wood on hand. It's just kind of a narrow piece of wood that makes a really nice handle. I get it at Home Depot, and I think it's just kind of a trim piece, but I cut it down, and I'll leave the measurements that I cut mine down to below, but you'll definitely want to make sure you measure your own. And I cut it using a miter saw, box and saw, so it's pretty easy. And I'm just going to glue that to my crate, as you can see here, and I'll just use those little clamps to hold it in place until it is dry. Now while that's drying, I'm going to take some of these little wood pieces from the Dollar Tree. The bunnies are from the Easter collection and the flowers are from the garden collection. And as you can see, I just used some Waverly wax on the fence and the bunnies and the pots. And then I'm going to go in and paint the flowers, and I'll just use Waverly chalk paint to paint these in, kind of painting these little, I don't know, they kind of remind me of like daffodils or daisies, so I thought yellow would be nice, and then some pink tulips, and you can just pretty much paint them whatever color you'd like. So now I'm going to use my Posca paint pen to add those little details that you guys know I love to add, and I'm just going to create some little polka dots here and there. You can do whatever you want on your project. You can do polka dots on all of it or not. So I painted the crate and handle white with a Waverly chalk paint, and now I'm going to add those little elements onto the front of my basket here with the bunnies and one of those flower pots to the front, and then the fence and flowers on the sides of each of them. And I did all 4 sides just opposite, right? Now I am going to take some lace. This is lace I get from Walmart, and I just made a cute little bow with it, and I'm just going to glue that to the handle. And this project is super easy, but it is so cute. And I just love how you can add little eggs in there or florals or whatever you want to create a beautiful little piece for a shelf or tray. So I see these bunnies done in lovely colors with scrapbook paper or paint. And I thought, you know what, let's try some of these rub-on transfers. So I gave our bunny a base coat of white chalk paint. And now I'm going to take these rub-on transfers. I've had these in my stash for a while, but rub-on transfers are fairly easy to obtain anymore. You can find lots of different designs on Amazon. And the Dollar Tree, just keep checking your Dollar Tree because they're always coming up with new rub-on transfer designs. I just love the rub-on transfers. They're so easy to use. So I just cut out each of the elements. I put them in that little box that you see me using there. And then I just started kind of placing them down. Now the plastic is on them so that I am not putting them down quite yet. I'm just able to kind of arrange them where I want them. And then as I start kind of filling it in, I'm going to rub them down. So just make sure that you're not rubbing it down on top of any plastic. You want to make sure you're getting it down on the wood, but just keep arranging these until you are happy with how they look. So on the ears, I needed to cut some of these kind of in half so that they would fit onto the ears. So I just kind of eyeballed it there, placed the bunny ear down, and then just cut it where I thought it needed to go. So you can get a little more precise and make a template if you want, but I wasn't too concerned about that. And I just rubbed it down, and if it kind of fell over the side, the transfer fell over the side, I just kind of folded it down. If it came up all together, I just folded it down on that edge. So if you've used rub-on transfers, you kind of know what I'm talking about, I think. And as you see, when I lift this up, there'll be just a touch that's kind of poking out over the side. So you just push that down and it attaches. Now I'm just going to add a jute twine bow to this little bunny's neck, and I'm just going to wrap it around a couple of times. And I thought that this just kind of added a cute little rustic element to this bunny. And if you want, you can Mod Podge over the top to protect your rub-on transfers. But my bunny is just going to be sitting on a shelf, so I wasn't too concerned about that. But you can definitely add some Mod Podge or varnish over the top. Now I made this cute little bow out of some burlap and lace, and then I had a flower, ribbon flower that I made a while back that I added on top. So I just kind of layered those together and put this on the top of my bunny's head, and I think that this is just adorable. For this next DIY, I am going to start off making my own mini grapevine wreath, and I'm just using one of these grapevine wreaths from the Dollar Tree. Now, I highly suggest that if you already have a grapevine wreath or have the availability to go buy one, I would do that instead of kind of making one. I probably didn't make this quite the way you're supposed to. I didn't really know how to do it, but I just, just did some winging on it. And it turned out really cute, but it was definitely not the most easy process. And it took me a while to get it all kind of figured out. But once I did, it turned out pretty good. So like I said, I suggest if you have one of these little mini grapevine wreaths, which are super easy to get at craft stores, I would suggest doing that. I just didn't have the time to run out to my local craft store. It's not super close to me, and I just had this wreath from the Dollar Tree on hand, so I thought I'll just make one. So now I'm going to use some of this pitberry that I picked up from Dollar Tree around Christmas time, and I'm just going to wrap it around my wreath. And this is really just to kind of hold everything together and make sure that all of those little ends are where they need to be and tucked in. And now I'm going to take some of this pitberry that I picked up at Joann's a couple years ago, and I am going to add this to the front of my wreath. So I just kind of picked a side that I wanted to be the front, and now I'm just going to lay that pitberry down and just get an idea as to the size that I'm want. So I'm just going to keep going around until I get the size, and then I'm just going to start twisting it onto itself. So I don't know, this probably wasn't the easiest way to do this. I didn't really want to go around and around in a circle. I wanted it to be more contained, and my goal was to make the garland that goes on the front, this pink garland, I want it to be as full as possible. So my idea was that if I twisted it around itself like I'm doing here, just going around that initial loop, that I would get a more full wreath here on the front instead of wrapping it around it's, you know, on the outside and then layering it. So hopefully that makes sense. You can definitely do it however you want if you decide to recreate this project. This is just how I wanted to do it, and you know, there's always different ways to do all of these things. So if you've got a different way that works better for you, then I definitely suggest you do that. But I just show you the way that I do it. My mind doesn't always get it right, but you know, it is what it is. So once I get all of that together, then I'm going to use some more of the green and white pitberry to create some ears. And I'm just going to layer this one up. As you can see here, I just kind of eyeballed the size that I wanted, and I'm just making some little ears. So I'll just cut those down, and then I am going to add some more of that pink pitberry to these, and again I'm just going to thread it around that initial loop, and that's just going to keep everything together, and it just kind of makes everything cohesive with the pink and white and green. Now, once I get those little ears done, I'm going to decide where I want the top of my head to be, and I am going to leave a little bit of that pink pitberry at the bottom, and I am going to wrap it onto itself. So this way I didn't have to try and use glue, and it just will hold very well because that wired pitberry is amazing. So look at how cute this little bunny turns out. I love it. You can kind of play with the ears and make them a little more round or whatever you'd like. So now I'm going to use this shiplap easel from the Dollar Tree, and I just kind of marked where I wanted my bunny to be, and then I'm going to add one of these hooks from the Dollar Tree, and I do add hot glue on the back of this because those hooks aren't always the most reliable and don't always stay attached, so I wanted to make sure that this little hook wasn't going to go anywhere. Now I'm going to use another Dollar Tree transfer. This is just a rub-on transfer, and I'm going to add the word home at the bottom, and I wanted to keep this very neutral so that I could change out whatever I put onto this little easel board, so I could make something different for different seasons, or I could put little wreaths on here for just a regular, you know, I could do some little boxwood wreaths or some more little grapevine wreaths, whatever you want to add on here, but you can change it out. And look at how cute this turned out. I think this is just adorable, and I just love it. So guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you enjoyed today's video. Let me know in the comments down below which project was your favorite. And as always, I hope you have a happy, healthy, and blessed day, and I will talk to you next time. Bye.